Hello, it's story time. It's a happy story. Well, I mean, like, not a happy story because obviously it involves someone trying to scam me, which is, it's naughty, isn't it? Let me take this off. I just got in. Yeah, so I thought I'd make this video about just like a couple of things that happened on Etsy, why my spidey senses were tingling about it, and how I managed to kind of cover my back and make sure that I actually didn't get scammed. So it started, what date? Say the 21st of May, so 8 days ago. A customer sent me a message on Etsy about a gold bangle. It's a white gold bangle, and I was selling it for £125, 5 grams, so it's scrap value between £80 and £90. And so I had it for £125. So not too much over scrap, but still enough for me to get like a little bit more than I would for just, scrapping it in. So a guy messaged me, a guy called another name, pretending to have a female name, but it ends up that we'll call him Steve because his name is Steve. Anyways, so a guy messaged me pretending to be a woman, signed off with a woman, but anyway, saying like, oh, I don't suppose you would do like a little discount on the item, like could you do £10 off? And seeing as like I normally have like a 10% coupon anyway, like on my store, like for you guys and things, then I was like, okay, I'll take a tenner off. So I adjusted the price on there, took the £10 off, so took it down to £115. So still a little bit of profit in it for me, after, more than scrap value. And then the guy messaged me going, all right, I'll pay next Tuesday. Spidey sense number one tingle. I'm like, right, why would you ask for a discount now, but then go, I'll pay next week? Oh, hang on, somebody at the door. I'm back. Yeah, so I thought that's a bit weird. Like, why ask for the discount now and then offer to pay next week? I thought, it's because they might know that there's a setting on there. Like a lot of stores have settings on there, which is called like the abandoned cart discount. So what they're trying to do is get me to knock it down by a tenner, and then after a certain days, that abandoned cart discount will then kick in, so they get a further discount. So I'm like, no, you don't get two discounts. Like, one discount I'm okay with, two discounts, like without asking me, that's taking the pee a little bit. So I changed the price back, and then I messaged the buyer like straight away, going like, okay, well, I'll change the price back, and you can just buy it off me next week, and we'll, sort this out. Anyway, in the meantime, I don't think he realised that I changed the price back to its original £125 because he bought it anyway and used a 10% off discount code. So he knew that it was on there, and he was trying to take two discounts from me. So, bit cheeky. Anyway, so he paid £112.50 plus £8.99 postage, because on expensive items I only go for special delivery next day, because that way, basically that one is the only one that you're insured on properly to cover the cost of your jewellery. So even though there's like a track 48 and a track 24, which will appear later in this show, option, they don't actually cover jewellery if it gets lost or damaged in the post. So that's what he's paid. So he's paid a total of £121.48 to be precise. And then I was like, I'm sure I recognise that name. And lo and behold, I searched back through the messages, and he'd actually messaged me before going like, can you give me a discount on this item? And my reply, because he was asking for a very big discount, I just went, no thanks. And that was it. And it was on another gold bracelet that I had that thankfully had sold in the meantime. So spidey senses definitely tingling. Like, that's someone that targets someone that sells gold and that sells it at not much above the scrap value. So I'm like, okay, we'll keep an eye on this one. So what I do whenever I sell anything that's like high value, I will film myself packaging it up, because I'm sure you've heard a lot of horror stories of people saying that their buyer have received an item and then they open it and go, it's not what I ordered. You have sent me this, you know, toilet roll and I ordered gold. So to protect myself from that, I film myself packaging it up. So all in one take, I showed the item, I put it in the box, packaged it and everything, weighed it, showed the weight, printed off the label, put the label on it and showed it to camera, just in case. So that was me covered number one, just in case they tried to pull the old switcheroo in that sense. And then I had it picked up, delivered, all good, so I thought. And then comes the message from the buyer, who you can tell is, now I've had years in customer service and I know how people talk, how certain types of people talk, and I know when someone is trying to be like overly polite and things like that. So they started off this overly polite, like, oh, I'm so terribly, you know, oh, and it's really lovely, but the thing is, and they were trying to say that the bracelet was damaged, that the clasp is damaged. And I'm like, nah, no, it's not though. Like, I know that it wasn't damaged. I'm like, okay, send it back to me and I'll give you a full refund. Because by now, obviously, I was kind of expecting something like this. And they were like, oh, if you could just give me £20 so I could get the clasp fixed. No, because if I give you £20, that means that it takes it close to the scrap value price. And to be honest, I would much rather have it back, because I know that it's not to scrap. I know that there's nothing actually wrong with it. So I'm like, I'll send it back then. And there was a back and forth for quite a long time. Oh, just give me a discount. Oh, just give me a different item. Just give me £20. Just give me £10. And it was always, give me something, give me something, give me something. And then they did the old threatening, I will leave you bad review. Now, they had left me a bad review. They left me a 1-star with like oh, this is very disappointing, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, you can't blackmail me with negative feedback, mate. Like, it's tough. Door again. More blooming post. God. Anyway, so yeah, lots of back and forths. And you could see that their messages were getting more insistent and stuff. And they were like, I'm very disappointed. And, you know, how it's terrible customer service of you. And I'm like, I'm abiding by Etsy policies, which is you can return the item for a full refund. That's all I have to do. I don't give partial discounts. I don't give alternative items. That's it. They made a little slip up going, there's nothing wrong with the bangle itself. And I quoted them on that a few times, going like, you said yourself there's nothing actually wrong with the bangle. So therefore, I'll have the item back and you can have your refund. They raised a claim on Etsy. So they opened up a case, and then like a case manager kind of gets involved. Who's the case manager on this? What's his name? Suraj. So maybe like a, you know, dude working from home and stuff. So someone from the mediation team. So they said, yes, you need to send the item back to the seller, to me. And then when they get it back, then you'll have your money back. And then they asked me to put my address in to return it to. Now, this chat is open to everyone that's involved in it. So for me, the buyer, and for the, for Suraj. So I put in the address, and then silly, the other person, the buyer, Steve, said, just Suraj, I am concerned the seller may not refund me. Please can you confirm whilst tracking details are sent and delivered, I shall be refunded, as I have bad vibes with regards to this matter. Now, the way that they speak was different. It's a different style to how they were talking to me in other messages. So I'm like, this isn't the female that they are pretending to be. This is a dude trying to scam me. So I replied, because obviously I can see that message. They don't think I can see it. Hi, when the item is delivered, I shall open it on camera, inspect the item and issue a refund. Because that is hint number 2 or whatever, is if you do get a refund or a return of an expensive item, like take photos of it and like, you know, as it's delivered, and open it on camera so that you can use it as some kind of evidence if needs be in future. So then they sent me the tracking number. I'm like, cool, they sent me a tracking number. By the looks of it, it's not just like a standard post one, it should be like a 24-hour one. Cool. So it comes to the 24th, which is the day that it should be delivered. So I check on the tracking number. It's a Royal Mail tracking. You can tell that because it starts with 2 letters and then it ends with GB normally in the UK. So I check it on the Royal Mail website and it says it's been delivered, and I'm like, what? Like, I know it hasn't been delivered. It's definitely not here. Now, there is an option on the tracking site, on the Royal Mail website, to check the GPS and the signature. Lo and behold, not only was the signature their surname, but the GPS of where it was delivered to was their own address. So whatever it is they had sent in the post, they had sent it back to themselves. Obviously trying to trigger an automatic return refund thing. So I took screenshots of all of this and I put in our little message, little chat. Hi, this tracking number and the GPS states that this item was sent to your own address and also signed for by your own surname. It is now very clear what your intentions are. And I put all of that info, all of the tracking numbers, the GPS, the screenshots of like their signature, everything on this. And then I added, update on case for the Etsy investigation team and the buyer. Item has not arrived at my address as buyer has sent it to his own address instead. Therefore, no refund will be issued by myself. And another hint for you, action fraud notified. Now, whether you don't give this to action fraud is up to yourself, but it is just a nice little thing to kind of drop in. It is a website, by the way, and you can like type in a bunch of details if you think someone is trying to defraud you. Of course, at this point, they haven't actually defrauded me of any money because they've got an item and I've got the money. It's still a simple transaction. They're trying to, but they haven't done it. And then I wait a couple of days because it's the weekend and stuff, bank holiday weekend. So I look on it the next day and I click on the dude's name, like on his account. And now it says the person you were looking for, or the account that you were looking for, no longer exists. So either they have been kicked off Etsy by Etsy, or they've deleted their account. Either way, how am I meant to refund them if they don't have an account? Oh no. So I said, I put the screenshots of that in there as well, and I said, it looks like the buyer's account no longer exists and I consider this case closed. Suraj from the case mediation team says, thanks for bringing this to our concern, yada yada, this is writing to the buyer. I would request that you kindly update the case with proof of shipping for the return. And then it lists all the acceptable things that they will take. And it has to be done by the 29th or else the case is closed. Today is the 29th. Today, this morning, the case was closed. I obviously don't have to refund the buyer. So what's extra sweet about this as well is that they have paid £121.48 for something that they want to scrap in, because that's generally like the idea of it. So they tried to get a further tenner off me and then a further £20. So if they'd have managed that, they'd have got it at scrap value. However, they've paid £121.50. Plus, they paid for that label to get sent to themselves. I think that's another £3.50. So they paid £125 for something that they can scrap in for about £80. So their attempt at conning me out of a bangle, and of trying to get further money from me, and trying to blackmail me using negative feedback, etc., has not worked. So they've had to pay the postage and another lot of postage. And it's a beautiful bangle, don't get me wrong. They could probably sell it on if they wanted to. But yeah, their little plan has kind of gone kibosh. And then the cherry on top of this that I actually didn't realise until I reread it through is, so Suraj writes on there to like close the case. You can kind of tell that it's sort of copy and pasted from something else. So basically they say, thank you for bringing us this concern about the Rothko chapel that you ordered from the seller. I'm like, that's not what I sent them. It must be that perhaps there was a few cases open against this person and they're now all being closed at the same time because they have no account, and because the cases that they opened were all ones that he was trying to defraud on. So I've potentially also saved the seller of this Rothko chapel, which is a huge thing. How are you going to post that? I'm kidding. But I've potentially saved someone else from getting scammed as well. And future people, because this dude no longer has an account. It was a few months ago when they first sent me that, the one on the other bracelet where they were trying to get discount on. So God knows how many people have been done in between. But little old Steve ain't doing it no more. So there you go. That's my little story for today. Woo! It does feel nice sometimes to not get one back on the scammer, but actually just go, I do things right. You are the wrong person. Karmically, you will pay for this. And they quite literally have paid as well. It might only be another £3.50 in postage on top of what they initially thought, but they ain't getting anything else from me. There we are. So you just make sure you cover your back as well when you're selling on Etsy and eBay, etc. And yeah, just make sure it's all good and you cover your back. And if your spider senses are tingling, like, you're probably right. Yeah. Right. Cheers. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.